Have you ever noticed how British politeness feels, well, different? It's not just about saying please and thank you. It's this whole incredibly complex psychological system. So let's dive in and really decode what's going on behind all those sorries and cups of tea.
So think about it. In the US, if there's a disagreement, things are usually pretty direct, right? If someone has a problem, you're probably going to hear about it. And anger, well, it tends to be expressed openly. It can be loud, it's definitely clear, and you're not left wondering what someone really thinks. It's a culture that often values just putting it all out there. Okay, now let's hop across the pond. In Britain, that entire approach to conflict gets flipped on its head. In fact, direct confrontation is often seen as a total social failure. And this is the core of the whole puzzle. British anger often comes disguised with a polite smile, a calm voice, maybe even an offer for a cup of tea. The real battle is happening completely under the surface.
So, how on earth does this actually work in practice? Well, our first stop is the art of the polite attack, where good manners are turned into a seriously sophisticated weapon. The whole system is really built on this one idea: non-confrontational warfare. The main goal, above all else, is to keep up the appearance of social harmony, even if it's totally fake. What's not being said is way more important than what is.
Okay, take a phrase like this. This is where it gets really interesting. An outsider, someone not used to the code, might hear this and think, great, they get it.
You hear someone validating your point. You think, okay, my idea has been understood, maybe even accepted. You feel like you're actually getting somewhere in the conversation. But what it really means is the complete opposite. It's a polite but very firm psychological shutdown. It's code for I completely disagree, I am not changing my mind, and this conversation is now over. All done with perfect civility.
But where does all of this passive aggression even come from? Well, that brings us to our next section. It's all fueled by that famous cultural trait, the stiff upper lip.
So you have to ask, why do it? I mean, why would a whole culture decide that bottling up your feelings is the way to go? What's the psychological benefit here? Well, one way to look at it is as a kind of collective dissociation. It's like a silent societal agreement to keep the really big emotions, we're talking intense joy, deep grief, raw anger, to keep all of that under lock and key. But here's the thing, those emotions have to go somewhere, right? They don't just vanish, they get transformed. They bubble up as that classic, dark, biting humor the British are so known for: sarcasm, irony, and a whole lot of self-deprecation. And what this all adds up to is a kind of psychological armor. By keeping their true feelings so hidden, they become incredibly hard to read, almost impossible to predict, and, when you get right down to it, very difficult to influence. Now, this psychological armor connects directly to our third and final piece of the puzzle, the invisible class code. Because even now, the ghost of the British class system is playing out through a kind of dark etiquette. It's actually said that a Brit can do a full psychological scan of your entire background, your education, your social standing, everything, in just the first 3 seconds of hearing you speak. And that scan is running on a totally invisible code. It's about the kind of accent you have, the specific words you use, even how subtle your manners are. It's a lightning-fast system for figuring out who's in the club and who's not.
And if you're an outsider, this creates this really weird effect. It's almost like social gaslighting. Everyone is perfectly nice, super polite to your face, but these invisible codes are being used, and you're left with this bizarre feeling that you just don't belong, and you have no idea why.
Okay, so let's put all of these pieces together. This complex game of politeness, emotional control, and secret social codes. What does it all really mean? First off, it's really important to understand that from inside the culture, this isn't about being mean or cruel. The real reason for all this runs so much deeper. It's actually a cultural survival mechanism. Think about it. It was developed over centuries on a very crowded island. It's a way to manage social tension and keep things orderly using subtext, irony, and silence instead of open conflict. And this quote just nails the ultimate strategy. It's a psychological war of attrition. You don't win by shouting the loudest. You win by being so unshakably, impenetrably polite that the other person just gets exhausted and gives up. So I've got to ask, what do you think? Have you ever experienced this yourself? Been on the receiving end of a polite insult? It really makes you wonder.